Hello, my name is Sylvia Reyes, and I have created this presentation with the help of Genesis Isleno, who is in the midst of scheduling her exam to become an RBT. The BACB is just the Behavioral Analyst Certification Board, and it's led behavioral analyst certifications for more than 20 years. If you don't already know, it's involved in the practice of ABA, Applied Behavioral Analysis, which is just the scientific approach to understand behavior. The goal is to enhance behaviors that are socially important or desirable while decreasing whatever's socially inappropriate. Maybe you're already an ABA therapist. Maybe you work with autism behavioral therapy, and you're just trying to get your certification or become registered, which would be through the BACB website, and that is what this presentation is for. So, we've been talking a lot about the BACB, and this is what the website is going to look like when you go to bacb.com. This is the startup page, and you can use this very nifty search box right here to search things that you need to find on the website. You can search the RBT handbook, which is something that is going to be very important because upon applying, it will ask that you've reviewed it, and you must review it in order to proceed. So that's what we're going to talk about first. Assuming I've searched that in here, it will show you that in the RBT handbook, once again, it'll pull up a PDF for you, and I've just kind of pasted a snippet of what's in the RBT handbook here for you because we are going to talk about the eligibility requirements. In order to even apply to be an RBT, you must meet these. And knowing that this application requires plenty of documentation and approval, you're going to want to be proactive. The items listed say that you have to be 18 years old. It will ask you to upload a high school transcript. You must pass a background check. You have completed 40 hours of training. These are all things that need to be done. And if you're already working as a clinician at ABT, these first 4 items have already been met or completed. So recovering the documentation if asked or needed shouldn't take much. Really, your supervisor can just vouch for you that all of these things have already been met. Now, the competency assessment is something that we are going to need to get done if it's not already done. And we will revisit that. But the competency assessment is basically just something that your supervisor needs to fill out in order to assess if you are competent to apply for the credential. So the next thing that we're going to do is show you that on the BACB website, you will have to create an account. In the top right corner, just press that gray box and it will bring you to this page. When it asks you to create an account, it's going to ask you just about basic demographics, which is screenshotted in the top right-hand corner. You're going to have to activate an email address to link it with the account. You're going to have to agree to the terms they ask you to, fill out subscription preferences, general things like this in order to create your account. And then finally at the end, after you've created your login information, it will ask you to log in. So on your BACB website, when you click My Account, you log in and this is what your home page is going to look like. You're going to need to remember this number, which is on your default profile tab. Obviously this one says BACB 123456, but yours will have different numbers with the leading BACB still there. You're going to need it, your supervisor is going to need it, and Pearson, which is who you will take your exam with, is going to need it. So just don't forget where to locate it. Take note of it. It's important. The next tab that we're going to talk about is the RBT tab. Those are the 2 ones that we're focusing on. Remember, all you've done so far is created your account with the BACB. Next, I'm assuming this audience is interested in applying for the credential once again, so this is the tab on your homepage that you're focusing on. RBT, and then you're going to click Apply for the credential. As stated, you need to ensure that you meet all of the eligibility requirements that we have already reviewed in the RBT handbook, but it's also going to ask you if you reviewed the entire handbook, which you should do, you should have done. You're going to check the box and you're going to continue. The first thing it's going to ask you is if you have completed your 40-hour training. If you work with ABT, you probably did it with Relias Academy. So you're going to go to your Relias Academy website, you're going to log back in, you're going to go to view courses, and ours was on the second page. You're going to look for where it says RBT series with no grade and click view/print. This will allow you to download your certification if you don't already have it handy. This is how you go recover it. On the left side just shows you the Relias website screenshot. You're going to have to type your information in order to download the certification that you have already completed. In order to recover your certificate, it's just going to ask you your name, address, blah, blah, blah. And then you can just click email or download, which is what you're going to need to do because the BACB is asking for it. On the right, you will need the date and your trainer's name. As you can see, my trainer's name and number are blurred out. But if you did train with ABT, then your certificate is probably very similar and your trainer will most likely be Rhonda Davin. We will go back to the BACB website and need to enter this information. This is where we left off on the application. So as I said, the 40-hour training is the first documentation requested. You're going to enter your trainer's name, which once again, in this case was Rhonda Davin, and enter the date of completion. You're going to upload the document. You'll see in the top right-hand corner that the next screen just thanks you for your upload, and that is just the computer telling you we've received a file and it was the correct format. It is up to you to make sure you are doing this correctly and that these procedures are thorough, because if you upload the wrong thing or if you're missing steps, then you're just going to elongate the process. A lot of this application requires review from the BACB, and then they'll get back to you, allow you to continue. They review it, get back to you by email, and then allow you to continue. So you'll see the entire process on this presentation. Once we have uploaded our 40-hour training certificate, the next thing is the competency assessment that we touched on in one of the first slides. You can be proactive, and you should. You can go ahead and find the handbook yourself. You can search the homepage on the BACB website and just type in competency assessment or Google competency assessment BACB. It'll come up. It'll give you a link with a PDF file, and this is what your supervisor needs. So the page on the left is showing an example of the types of things it's asking your supervisor to complete. Now this document is a couple pages long, but this is just a snippet of the content for you. It's going to be asking for you and your supervisor's information. So once again, know where your BACB number is on your home page and on the profile tab, because your supervisor needs it to fill it out. As you can see, it's just it shows the content of what we need to know as RBTs, and the BACB just wants to know that you're prepared according to your supervisor, and they want to know that you've reviewed these concepts in order to ensure basic understanding of what an RBT needs to know. So after they complete this, or after you guys complete it together, you need to upload the competency assessment. So on the right, you can see that it's going to ask for the supervisor's name, for the date the assessment was completed. You're going to need to check all of those boxes, assuming that you did do them, and upload it here on the bottom. The next thing it's going to ask you to do is to enter your supervisor's name and their certification number that they should be able to find their own selves on their own BACB account page. So they will provide you with that information. And I believe that you can go back and look through the competency assessment that they filled out, and you might be able to find it on there. But if not, just ask your supervisor for their certification number so you can enter the information on this step. As you can see, the next steps are in the bottom right-hand corner. This is a screenshot of the following page after you've entered your supervisor's information, and you are just going to wait for an email. It is going to be subjected like this. Your supervisor approved your RBT application. Dear Jane Doe, your application is available to proceed, basically. So you can go ahead and type in BACB website or just click on that link right there and it'll bring you right back to your home page. The next step is the fun part. You get to pay for your application. So now that you've completed the application, you submitted all your forms, it's just going to ask you to finalize it by submitting your $50 payment, which in retrospect is a very small fee that you're paying to invest in yourself, because if you have this certification, it will open more opportunities for you and it will make you an all-around better prepared therapist. So you're going to find where to proceed on your home page, go to your RBT tab, and then you can see in the bottom right corner, it will say complete application. Obviously, you will click that link. You will submit your payment information, and then you can check out. The next step is just to wait to hear back from them once again. Be on the lookout. You're going to see the BACB email you again. Yay, your application's done, and now you are eligible to take the exam, because it's not like anyone can just go on pearsonview.com and take the RBT exam. You have to be registered with the BACB and they have to make it available to you. So when you click on the link, you are going to have to create a Pearson View account. Note for the exam that you may be able to avoid going to a proctored testing center because of COVID-19, so the sooner the better. I personally took mine at home this past October, and from personal experience, I can tell you that it's still proctored on webcam. And like one time I was reading the questions to myself out loud, and the proctor messaged me saying, no mumbling, no speaking, or I have to take pictures of my testing site before starting the exam. So I'm submitting photos of my desk, of the right angle of my desk, the left angle. These are just things that you're doing if you're taking the proctored exam during the COVID time window, which most of us were probably doing, because our newly mandated company-wide requirement is that all therapists take their exam by the end of this March. So you're going to want to sign up for your web account. You need to provide the requested information. Right here you can see it's just asking for your first and last name, your ID number, and then once you complete all of the information it asks you to put in order to create your account, you can finally proceed and schedule your exam. So the exam is retakeable, but there is a $45 testing fee and it is 90 minutes long. So after you schedule your exam, you have an idea of how much time you have to prepare for it. And finally, the last thing you need to do is study. You should know what kind of learner you are. You need to be confident because there are plenty of free resources you can use to study. You can review Relias modules or wherever you received your certificate or wherever you received your 40-hour training. You can review those notes. That will help you. I used a YouTube channel called ABA Made Easy, where this man walks you through what to expect and reviews the curriculum for the test. Personally, I just played that playlist over and over again on repeat, whether I was doing laundry or doing anything. I just wanted to keep all of that fresh in my brain, even if it was in the back of my brain somewhere while I was multitasking. It was very helpful for me. Once again, you just have to know what kind of learner you are, though. Another website that's useful is ABA Rocks. It has a lot of timed practice quizzes. And the last thing that is very helpful for studying is picking your supervisor's brain. When you're meeting for your supervision every week, you can ask questions about things that you are not sure about, that you need clarification for. If there is something you know you need to be studying and you're not getting it, I'm sure your supervisor would be happy to ensure that you totally get it and that you are feeling prepared. So, once again, this was brought to you by Sylvia Reyes and Genesis Isleno, and thank you guys so much for watching.